Airtable's intuitive interface is a great way to see your Shopify inventory in a spreadsheet format, make changes to it, and then sync those changes back to Shopify. And the AirPower app is the best and easiest way to set up a sync for your inventory between Shopify and Airtable. Let's see how this works in practice. Here we're going to start with a blank AirPower configuration. And we're going to start with a blank Airtable base. First, we'll sync our products and inventory from Shopify to Airtable. To do this, we create a sync profile. A sync profile is a configuration setting that tells AirPower where to sync data to and from, and what data to sync. Here we'll set up our Shopify to Airtable sync profile. We give it an appropriate name. We ensure it's Shopify to Airtable. And we select our base. Once we do this, we first have to set up the sync for products and variants. The reason for this is because inventory in Shopify lives with the variant of each individual product. So first, we'll set up a table for our products. If we were working with an existing base, we can use an existing table that we already have our products on. But in this case, we're starting from scratch. So we'll just let AirPower create the default template table in our base. AirPower has now added the table and has added columns for the most commonly used fields by our users. You can at any point add more fields. Add meta fields, or delete parts of this configuration. We'll now go back to all of our sync settings. And we'll set up a table for our variants. We'll again use the default template table that AirPower creates. Now we're ready to set up our inventory sync. We select inventory from the options, and here we need to tell AirPower where our variant data lives. Because with AirPower, you can set up variant data to live on your products table if you only have one variant per product. In this case, we have multiple variants per product, which is why we set up a separate table to hold our variants. Now we tell AirPower which inventory we want to sync. So we add a new inventory setting. We'll select the inventory location we want to sync from. In this case, it will be our primary warehouse. And we'll select available inventory, and we'll give it a column name. We can select an existing column, or we can type in the name of a new column. As we do this, AirPower tells us that there is no such column in our Airtable base. We have two options. We can either create this column manually, or we can let AirPower create the column for us. We take the easy option. Secondly, we are going to add another type of inventory to our table. In this case, we'll add reserved inventory. We'll also add the column to our table. We have now completed setting up our sync. We'll save the sync profile, and we'll go to our Airtable base. Here we see the two new tables created, the table for products and the table for our variants. And at the end of the table we can see the inventory columns we created. There is no data here yet, because we just set up these columns. So to populate with all the existing data we have, we can just load all of our existing product data. With AirPower, updates from Shopify will sync automatically to Airtable after they're made in Shopify. But at the start, we can use the advanced menu to pre-populate all of our data. We'll now see AirPower syncing our product and inventory information to our Airtable base. And we can see that our variant information has come in along with the inventory for available and reserved for each individual variant. We can also see the products that these variants are associated with. And that's how easy it is to set up inventory syncing from Shopify to Airtable. But what if we want to sync the inventory back? For this, we need to create an Airtable to Shopify sync profile. Again, we add a blank profile. We give it an appropriate name. We select Airtable to Shopify. We select our base. We now again need to tell AirPower where our products and variants live. In this case, we have an existing table, so we'll select that. We only need to select the table because we don't want any other product information to sync back to Shopify. We do the same for variants, where we select the existing table that we have. And we now go to our inventory section, where again we select the variants table. And here we need to pick which inventory we want to sync. We want to sync our primary inventory. And for Airtable to Shopify syncing, we can only sync available inventory. All other inventory is automatically controlled by Shopify. Here we select the column with our primary warehouse available inventory. And we save our sync profile. We can now go back to our Airtable base. And here we're going to modify this inventory to a new value. Now that we've modified our available inventory for this particular variant at this location, we go back and initiate an Airtable to Shopify sync. We do this from the dashboard. When this sync starts, it will sync the available inventory for all our variants to Shopify. And our Airtable to Shopify sync is now finished. Now we'll open the page for the particular product that we modified, and we'll refresh the page. We can see that the new available inventory has been set. And that is how easy it is to sync your Shopify inventory between Shopify and Airtable with the AirPower app for Shopify.